Hey everyone, welcome to day one of Heart Opening Backbends. We're going to just relax down into child's pose, into an extended child's pose. And what I would like from us here is to use the blocks for your hands. So there are many ways you can do this, okay? You can have the blocks on the lower level. You can raise them up a little bit to, I don't know what you would call that, but this level. Or you could also raise them to the highest level if you want. Maybe if you have big enough ones, you could put them on top of each other. Anyway, it all depends on your flexibility in your shoulders. So my shoulders are very open. As I said, I do a lot of shoulder openers. I struggle with quite a lot of tension inside my shoulders, but that's okay. It just makes me work them more. But take it as it is for you. If you don't really feel much in the stretch, then you can simply raise the blocks until you do start to feel. And just resting your forehead down. Taking a few breaths here. Just really opening up the shoulders. It's only going to be a nice easy start for the beginning, don't worry. Focusing on the basics and then working your way up. Also, if you're having a hard time with breathing, you can just open your legs a bit wider, and then that will give you more space for your belly to breathe. And do a wide leg child's pose. So if this is good for you, then that's fine. Stay here for a few breaths. I'd recommend, depending on how much you're feeling it, between 5 to 10 breaths. That's if you're comfortable. Otherwise, if you're not feeling that much with that, what you can do is go into another one, which is one of my favorites, which is puppy pose. So, starting on hands and knees, knees beneath the hips. Just extend your hands out and then drop your belly down as you lift the hips. And just breathing here. Again, this is another one, you've got quite a few options. You can put your hands into a prayer above your head. So you would start just on the ground and then lift onto the elbows. This one's quite tough, so maybe you can't do that. Aiming, of course, to put your hands behind your head, depending on how open you are. You can also have your chin up in puppy pose rather than your head down if you can drop down far enough. Another one that I really like is again to use the blocks in this pose. So again, starting as you were, wherever you're comfortable. So my chin is down. If your forehead's here, that's fine. Keeping the belly engaged, having the chin up, and that's going to really open up into the shoulders. And again, then play around, lift the blocks, see what really gets you going, you know. See where you can find the most benefit of this stretch and go there. I mean, I'm a firm believer, some people practice very differently. I mean, you should never injure yourself, obviously. It's just being ridiculous and pushing yourself too much, but, you know, you should feel a slight discomfort. You shouldn't be just sitting in a pose and it's completely comfortable. Well, unless you're extremely comfortable in that pose and you've been doing it for a long time. Obviously, it's different, but, you know, if there is room to improve, then why not? So if you're comfortable down here, then raise the arms a little bit. Start practicing like this. Start working a little bit more. That way you get constant improvement, and that's what kept me going in my practice all this time. You can also practice the elbow one, as I told you. So popping the elbows onto the blocks. Prayer above the head. Drop your head down.
And then just push your chest as you would normally down into the earth. And the palms, they go behind the head. It's actually a little bit easier to get the palms behind the head like this because you're raising the ground. So that will open up more, and then if you try to do it on the floor, you get a better result later on. And just breathing here. By the way, you don't have to do all of these options. These are just, many options I've learned over the years that I enjoy and that have really, really helped me in all areas of my practice, really. So I like to show all of them with you, of course, as we're working there. And then when you're ready, I could literally stay here for hours because I get such a lovely feeling and sensation of release from the tension in my shoulders. But I won't, because not all of you are me.
You can just lift up. I don't know what position you're in, but if you're using the blocks, remove the blocks. Just return to a normal puppy pose. And then slowly roll yourself back down into child's pose. Again, if you're already in child's pose, you can then start to push the knees together if they're apart. And roll yourself up slowly to a thunderbolt seated position. And then, actually you could stay here if you want. It doesn't really matter for this next pose what leg position you're sitting in. So you could be like this. You could sit in Sukhasana, easy pose. If you want, you could also do lotus pose to get a hip opener. Another really nice one actually is Thunderbolt, although it's a bit painful, but it's good to practice it sometimes. I do this a lot in my practice when I'm sitting just to do a meditation or something like this in classes. I think, well, okay, why don't I do the dreaded toe pose and open up those toes a little bit, because nobody really likes this, I don't think, because it's excruciating. But you just sit back onto your toes. So lift your toes out and then sit back onto your heels. You get a really, really deep stretch here, but it's brilliant because we never really do anything with the toes on our feet, and our feet carry us all our lives. So, they're very important. And I try my best to do this because I work very long hours in summer, running up and down with my job. So it's good to stretch. It is very painful, so if you don't want to stay there, don't come back down, it's okay. I tend to go in and out also. But for this, you could do with a strap if you have. If you don't have a strap, you could use a lot of things really, like a shoelace, a piece of rope. I've used a rolling pin once. Anything that's kind of, it needs to be really a little bit wider than your shoulder distance. You could use a scarf, a t-shirt, anything, a bath robe, not the actual robe, well, you could use the robe, but the belt, that's the word I'm looking for, a belt, anything like this. And depending on how open your shoulders are, you will start, as I said, with your arms a little bit wider, or a lot wider if you know what this is, than your shoulders. And what we're going to do is just keep the spine tall. We're just going to do rotations. So we're going to inhale, bring the arms all the way back behind our head, and rotating the shoulders, bring it down to your low back. And then back over. And we're just going to do this for a few times, for a few minutes. I really like this, and I find it amazing to open space. And because it's rotation, it works every area of your shoulder. You can't go wrong with this, to be quite honest with you. But don't push too far, because this can be quite painful if you've got not enough space. So if it's hurting you now, you should go further. Pull the strap further. If it's quite easy, sorry, excuse me, move your hands further in and then go again. What you're looking for is where that sticky part is. You want to kind of really push past that. But it's a fine line between getting stuck there and pushing, so don't push too much. I'm going to go back on my toes. Just enough that feels comfortable for you. I mean, I can do quite low, but this actually, it's not a strap, it's oh, what's it called? It's a restraint. No, restraint, is it? Resistant, that's it, resistance band. Freaking restraints. Oh dear, you can tell what's on my mind. So this is actually stretchy, which is great because I can bring my hands further in, and then when I get to the sticky, those tight parts, I can pull the resistance band open because it's really stretchy, and then I still get a nice stretch there, but it's not too much for that area of the shoulder. You know, you don't want to hurt your shoulders. It's obviously completely the opposite of what we're trying to do. Just keep going a few times. Of course, stop if you feel the need to stop. Only going as far as you can. Inhale over. Exhale to the front. Inhale back. Exhale to the front. A few more times. Okay. And now when you're feeling really open, hopefully you're feeling really open, you can just pop your strap down to the side, and that will be enough for today's tutorial. This one's a longer one. They won't all be this long actually, but I wanted to give you a bit of an introduction to the challenge that I'm doing. Of course, as you know, you can follow along here. You can just post a pose if you want. If you don't have the time to do videos, I completely understand that. It's great to see your practice, obviously, but if you don't have the time, you know, I want this to be available to all people. So yeah, just post your favorite pose from this video. Just please try and practice the videos. Obviously, if you're not practicing in the app, which you can, you can sign up for free for a week's trial and do the program with us, or you can follow me along here in my Instagram stories. Yeah, and you can post either just the pose of your choice of what we've done today or what I've listed in the flyer, or you can post your video. Just please practice along, because of course this is where the progress is going to come from. Just doing the pose for a picture, you're not really going to get much benefit from that. So anyway, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. Namaste.